Don't eat everything they bring you in a Michelin restaurant because it's not what it seems. That's the most important piece of advice I can give. Right now, we are about to reveal how to prepare for a dinner in a Michelin restaurant, what to wear, how to behave, and how to stay safe and sound by the end of the meal. My name is Garry and I'm a WSET3 qualified sommelier. Let's go. First things first, the price. Some people think that Michelin restaurants are always extremely expensive, but actually it is not true. There are some really affordable places with Michelin stars, especially in Asia like Hong Kong. There you can eat some Michelin-starred dim sums for $5 to $10, but the most average prices for Michelin places are about $150 for 1 star, $250 for 2 stars, and about $400 for 3 Michelin stars. I know, it is a huge generalization because you can find a more accessible restaurant with 1 star and eat for less than $100, or find an outrageously expensive 3-star restaurant where a meal can cost a couple of grand. It depends on the country as well. In Japan, the US, Northern Europe, the prices are normally a bit higher, but generally you can use the prices I've mentioned as a reference. And remember to always reserve a table. If in an ordinary restaurant, it is possible to just come without any reservation, and in most cases they will find a table for you, but it is not like that in a Michelin-starred restaurant. The point is that the course is prepared particularly for one person who has made a reservation. Sometimes it includes 10, 20 or even more courses, and if I just show up and want to have a dinner, it just won't work. The staff needs to know the exact number of persons dining today because they need to calculate the ingredients, the room, how many tables do they have, so it is a bit more complicated compared to a normal restaurant. And consequently, in most cases, when you make a reservation, you give your credit card details. Sometimes there is some deposit put on hold before the dinner, like 50% of the price of the meal. Sometimes there is no deposit, it depends on the restaurant policy, but if you don't show up, they will deduct the price of the meal from your bank account. It's also rather fair, I'd say, because the whole team has already planned the meal, bought the ingredients. Sometimes they buy them just a few hours before the meal because they should be top-notch just from the garden or from the farm. And if the person doesn't show up, they have great losses. Just be aware of this reservation policy and make sure you have sufficient funds on the card just in case. And by the way, check out my new wine appreciation course that I finished recently. It covers all the topics from wine growing to making quality wine and from wine tasting to food pairing. So it will be very useful for those who start their journey in the world of wine. The link is in the description down below. The third thing, which for me is the most mind-blowing difference between a normal and a Michelin-starred restaurant, is the menu. In most cases, Michelin chefs do not serve a la carte, meaning that it is not possible to come and choose the dishes you like from the menu. Of course, there are a ton of exceptions from this rule, but the essence of a Michelin restaurant is anyway a tasty menu. It may be anywhere from 5 to several thousands of courses, but you purchase the whole tasting menu at once and just observe what the chef has to offer you. Probably you've got a question. How is it possible to eat 10 or 20 courses? Isn't it too much for one person? No, it is totally fine because A, you eat them during the course of several hours while your stomach gradually digests the food, and B, the courses are very small, definitely smaller than normal sized dishes in a restaurant, meaning that it is totally fine to eat even 20 courses during 3-4 hours. And now let's talk about the clothes for a Michelin-starred evening. Do I need any kind of special clothes to go to such a restaurant? Well, here it is super easy for 99.9% of the Michelin restaurant. You just dress smart casual. Of course, for a dim sum Michelin place, which is not a restaurant in the traditional representation, but just a van which serves food, you don't need to dress smart casual. Few most nose up 3-starred restaurant requires some formal dress, which means a dinner jacket for men and long fancy dress for women. But anyway, these are not the majority, and definitely I wouldn't start going to Michelin places from this restaurant because frankly speaking, you feel quite uncomfortable there. But for 99% of places, smart casual is a safe choice. Smart casual is basically some kind of clothes I'm wearing in this video. It could be some jacket, probably not very formal, and just a basic shirt or even a t-shirt. You can also use trousers or more or less classic jeans, but please no flip-flops. Sometimes they even write it on the website of Michelin-starred restaurants, no flip-flops. For the shoes, you can just go for a pair of basic sneakers, not too extravagant, but it's not even necessary to wear some fancy dress footwear. Just keep it simple and that is it. And if you care about the manners, about the etiquette rules in a Michelin restaurant, just relax. Nobody is watching you because it's a Michelin-starred restaurant. Obviously, it is fine dining and all the basic etiquette rules are applied to these places as well, but if you know how to operate a knife and a fork, that's enough to eat in a starred restaurant. You dress simple but tidy, you look okay, you behave yourself. There are no more rules for the majority of Michelin restaurants. Of course, there are these nose-up places where you feel a bit like, what am I doing here? But generally you can just relax and have some fun. No one judges here. And I hope you don't judge me too strictly. If you love the video so far, please like and subscribe to my channel. It really helps a lot. The most awkward thing about this type of places is that they are not about the food, basically. Michelin restaurants are all about the experience you get. To me, the most accurate comparison would be a theater night or a music concert or some show. You can see the same play at home on TV or even listen to the favorite band while driving to work, but definitely you won't get the same concert or theater ambience at home. It is exactly the same about Michelin restaurants. Here people pay for the presentation of dishes, the service, these small talks with the sommelier. Sometimes the chefs comes to your table just to ask if everything is okay and you love the dinner. That is the essence of a Michelin-starred experience. Back in the days, Michelin was just a guide created for travelers to find a nice place to dine and to sleep. But now it's not like that. If you want to eat, go to McDonald's. I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. Don't go to McDonald's. But anyway, even at the basic one-star level, you get the exquisite serving of the dishes. The courses themselves may be quite simple, like this one here. It is just an apple with some foie gras on top, which in essence everyone can make at home. Like you buy a can of foie gras, cook the apples and it is done. But no, the Michelin level makes the dish a bit different. Sometimes these culinary experiments may be a bit confusing. For some courses you really have to be prepared because they may appear a bit scary at first, but actually it is all art. Art is not necessarily just a Mona Lisa, like painting. Cubism is also art. Expressionism is also a form of art. And culinary art also may assume different forms. Sometimes you just get to eat a tiny bite, like 5% of everything you have on the plate. The rest of the components may not even be edible, like this one here. You only eat the amuse-bouche at the top, don't eat the shell under it, and definitely don't eat the hands because they serve just as a plate. But all the elements all together create the stunning presentation of the dish, which is unique for each course and each of the Michelin restaurants. And about the tip in Michelin restaurant. Is it okay to tip? Is it necessary? Is it obligatory in this type of establishment? It depends not only on the restaurant, but also on the country. In the United States, it is a common practice to leave even 20% of the bill as a tip. In Europe, it is a bit different. Sometimes the service is already included in the final bill. You'll see it normally at the bottom of the tasting menu page on the website or sometimes even on a printed copy of the menu. If the tip is already included, obviously you pay it, it goes without saying. Should you leave more if the service is already included? If I pay by card, I don't do it. If I pay in cash, I think it is appropriate to leave some tip, but I don't feel like tipping €1 or €2 because it seems a bit cheap considering the bills in Michelin restaurants. If the service is not included, here it all depends on you. You can leave some tip, you may not leave some tip. The basic rule of thumb is if you love the service way more than usual and you want to show your gratitude to the team, you leave the tip. If the service was fine but nothing special, here you may decide not to leave any tip. If you leave 20 to 50 euros, I think it is a sweet spot for the majority of Michelin restaurants because like 5 euros may seem a bit like and more than 50, you just don't have to do it. You may, but you got my idea. There is no reason for that. As a sommelier, I'd like to say that the more you pay as a tip, the better, trying to support my colleagues, but you just don't have to. Check out my social media for any inquiries in the description down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.